Okay, so today we are going to start with section two, that is the allocation of resources, topic 2.1, micro and macroeconomics. So, first of all, what we are going to do is that we are going to understand the difference between the two, that what is the difference between microeconomics and macroeconomics. So, first of all, let's just talk about the microeconomics. So, microeconomics basically studies economic decisions and actions of individuals, consumers, producers, and households, and how the economic decision makers basically interact. So, it's the study of, at a micro level, you are seeing that what is the behavior of the individuals, like the consumers, the producers, and household, and what are they, how do they interact with one another in the microeconomy. So there are certain things that we will add as part of the example, that what can be included in the microeconomics, right? So here we are going to start off with the example. Microeconomics will consider how individual, these are some of the topics that we have talked about, we are going to talk about, like that how individual firms organize production. So this is a micro level discussion. So we are giving examples of micro discussions. Then what determine wages paid to workers? That whatever the wage is going to be paid. So this is a discussion at a micro level. Then, for example, what affects the purchasing decisions of individual consumer? So how do the individual consumer decides what to purchase and what not to purchase? This is again a discussion at a micro level. And then what determine price of different goods, right? So what could be the price that could be charged for the different goods and how the prices are determined? So all of these factors that we are discussing here are the discussions at a micro level. Then, when we are talking about the macroeconomics, so first I'll give you time to write this part down and then we'll move forward to macroeconomics. Once you're done, let me know.
Done, sir.
Done.
जी सर.
Macroeconomics studies economic issues and actions that affect the whole economy. So those issues which can actually affect the whole economy is the discussion of the macroeconomy. So we are going to talk about at a bigger level, at a level of an economy, what issues an economy can face. So here we are talking about, for example, macroeconomy. Macroeconomics, oh my gosh, will consider big issues at economic level like what determines total output of firms in economy, that what is determining the total output of every firm in the economy. Secondly, what is the total national income of economy? Like if we talk about this is a macro topic. Then what determines overall employment? What causes the inflation and its impact? And its impact. But what is its impact? So what causes the inflation and its impact of the inflation, right? So once we are done with this, then we'll move forward to the next part.
Done, sir.
Done. Decision makers in micro and macro economies. This should be, a bit of, this should be C, economics. So known as economic agents. So the decision makers in micro and macroeconomics are known as economic agents. Economic agents are the consumers, the firms, savers, workers, government. All of these are economic agents. They are household, which includes consumers, savers, and workers. Then we have the firms, which produce goods and services. And then we have the government, which provides goods and services, impose taxes, and regulate private sector. So there are three major economic agents, households under which we talk about the consumers, savers, and workers. Then we have the firms. The purpose is that they produce the goods and services, and the government, which provides the goods and services, they impose the taxes, and they also regulate the private sector, which means that they put regulations like taxes or they provide the subsidies to the private sector. So whatever the activity the private sector is doing, उसमें government is the one which can basically, regulates its activity. अगर let's suppose they are creating pollution, तो उनको pollution से मना किया जा सकता है, by putting some taxes and all. And if they want more competition in the market, so they could probably give microfinance the startup firms so that they can easily use the finance and start up their own business, or they can also provide the subsidy. So all those government activities could be included here. You can write this and then we'll move forward.
Done, sir.
Done. Okay, moving forward to the aims of decision makers. कि जो जितने decision makers हैं, what do they aim for? Let's suppose if we talk about the consumers, what do they aim for? They seek low prices and good quality products. This is what their aim is. Then, if you talk about the workers, they want good working conditions and high pay, right? So they want that their working conditions which are being provided are good, and then the working, and apart from the working conditions, they are being paid well. And sometimes also they seek for the job security as well. No? So we are writing some general aims. Then savers want their money to be safe, and they also expect good returns on their savings. Then we talk about the firms. Firms can make as much profit as possible, right? They want to make as much profit as possible. This is one of the primary aims of any firm. Obviously, when they are entering into a market, so they would want to survive, but that survival is also for one big aim, that is to make money, that is to make profits. So most of the and I'm talking about the private sector firms which are aiming for profit, not the social enterprises. And then but if you add the social enterprise, their purpose is probably the social welfare as well. Now the government, very clear, the social welfare of society, and they want a strong economy. You can write this down, and we are done with this chapter, and we'll be moving forward to the next chapter.
Done, sir.
Okay, great. So here our chapter ends, and we will be moving forward to the next chapter, and that is topic 2.2, the role of markets in allocating resources. So, three key allocation decisions that the firms are facing. Three fundamental questions. हाँ जी, वो क्या है fundamental questions? Three economic questions जो होते हैं.
Good question, sir.
Due to the basic economic problem of scarcity जो हम face करते हैं. जी,
पता नहीं सर.
इधर नीचे लिखे हुए हैं. What to produce,
How to produce,
how
when
to
to produce,
produce, and
for whom to
and
produce.
basically it also includes for whom to produce. यहाँ पे for whom to produce, when to produce नहीं है कोई question. ये बड़ी एक जनरल मिस्टेक है which many of the students make कि वो what, how और for whom को हमेशा कोई ना कोई एक गलत बता देते हैं. तो ये आपको तीनों बड़े बेसिक हैं, ये आने चाहिए हमेशा. So first of all, if we talk about what to produce, private sector firms हों या गवर्नमेंट की firms हों, state owned enterprises हों, there are choices between what you can produce, like the capital and the consumer goods. So the choice is between capital and consumer goods. whether you want to make the capital goods or you want to make the consumer goods. अच्छा, अब हम ये पढ़ेंगे कि let's suppose if you we are producing more of consumer goods, so what is the opportunity cost that the firm will face of producing, or the economy will face of producing, the specifically the economy will face. And if we keep on producing only the capital goods, so then what the economy is facing in that scenario. So first of all, the opportunity cost of producing capital goods is the consumer goods, sorry. Then we'll go to the capital. Consumer goods is the lack of capital goods required or needed in future to produce consumer goods for future generation. तो अगर आज आप you are making more of the consumer goods, so it means that you are satisfying the needs of your current generation because they are going to use up those goods, ठीक है, और वो perish हो जाए. But if you are doing that, so it means that you are not making any capital goods, which means that कि जो capital goods जिनसे further consumer goods can be produced in the future, तो वो नहीं बनेंगे. तो you are basically sacrificing your future generation for your current generation here. Whereas the opportunity cost of producing capital goods is the lack of consumer goods required to satisfy current generation's demand. And if you are making more of capital goods, तो उससे क्या होगा कि you are making less of the consumer goods, which means कि जो आज की current generation की requirement है of the consumer goods, वो fulfill नहीं हो रही. तो in one way or the other, you are sacrificing either your current generation or the future generation. So a balance must be kept between the production of the capital and consumer goods. Second is how to produce. The choice is between labor intensive technique of production and capital intensive technique. Right? So if we talk about the labor intensive technique first. So in the labor intensive, productivity is mostly dominated by labor. Advantage क्या है? अगर let's suppose if you are using the labor to produce the goods and services, and the any advantage कोई labor कि प्रोडक्टिविटी का बताएं. You are utilizing labor to produce the goods and services.
सर वो चीज महंगी होती है तो प्रॉफिट ज्यादा होता
What's the reason कि labor cheap है?
है। नहीं सर, जैसे वो हैंडमेड कारपेट्स जो होते हैं वो बाकियों से ज्यादा
Hmm.
महंगे होते हैं, तो उसका
Yes,
प्रॉफिट मार्जिन ज्यादा होता है।
very good. तो customized products बना सकते हैं हम with the labor. This is a very good point. So you can make customized products. और उनकी obviously demand बहुत ज्यादा है compared to the others. So this can also lead to high profits because ये special skilled workers ने बनाए हैं, specialists ने बनाए हैं, तो you are charging a higher price for the product because it is unique. Second is the workers can work flexibly. So you can ask them to do many different tasks which, the machines might not be able to. Then the labor is also cheap. ठीक है. And new ideas can also be generated through the labor.
ओपिनियन ले सकते हैं।
Yes. So new ideas generated because they are opinionated ना तो वो उसका फायदा हो जाएगा. उनकी creativity से, उनकी innovation से you can take the benefit. Whereas, what do you think? क्या drawback होगा labor intensive technique का?
सर अगर तो कोई अगर फर्म के पास स्पेशलाइज्ड वर्कर हैं तो कोई एक आधा अगर छुट्टी कर ले तो फिर उनकी प्रोडक्शन रुक जाएगी।
Perfect. Perfect. So absenteeism of specialized worker may halt production. Very good point. Then they can make the trade unions. Trade unions also, put pressure on firms and they halt production as well. ठीक है कि you increase the wages or the working conditions, anything like that.
सर ये
Then
एम्प्लॉयज की अपनी को वर्कर्स के साथ लड़ाइयों से कंपनी को नुकसान होता है।
employees की,
अपनी को वर्कर्स के साथ लड़ाइयों से कंपनी को भी नुकसान होता है।
yes, conflicts between workers delay or slow down production. Then quality might not be standardized क्योंकि workers बना रहे हैं तो same quality of goods शायद ना हो. Sometimes the good are of better quality than other times. Then resources might be wasted. This could be another problem.
सर ये ज्यादा महंगे भी पड़ते हैं।
Exactly.
इनको फाइनेंशियल नॉन फाइनेंशियल बेनिफिट्स देने पड़ते हैं।
The cost of very good. इसको कहते हैं high employment cost because a lot of benefits are to be given. I think more than enough points हमारे पास आ गए. You can write this part down, then we'll move forward to
Yes,
the
sir.
capital intensive.
हो गया सर.
Done. Okay. Now the capital intensive technique. Here, the productivity process is mostly dominated by machines. And the advantage of the capital intensive is that there is going to be 24-hour productivity. There is high quality because machines are more standardized in making the product. There is less wastage of resources that they are doing.
Cheaper.
Uh, हाँ वो किस केस में बोला कि लो एवरेज कॉस्ट because of the economies of scale, like the purchasing economies. So in bracket में I'll write down the purchasing. Bulk pay discounts, discounts on bulk buying. अच्छा. Drawbacks. High initial cost of, investing in the machinery. So I'm talking about the investment in machinery. Secondly,
अगर कोई मशीन में फॉल्ट आ जाए तो आपको फिर से दोबारा पैसे खर्चने पड़ते हैं नहीं लेने में.
exactly. हाँ अच्छा दोनों चीजें हैं ना.
मेंटेनेंस
एक
कॉस्ट
तो
आ जाए.
रिप्लेसमेंट भी और हाँ मेंटेनेंस भी आ जाएगी बिकॉज मेंटेनेंस इज ऑल्सो नॉट इजी ना बिकॉज दैट इज ऑल्सो एक्सपेंसिव टास्क कि जो आपको करना पड़ेगा. सो हाई मेंटेनेंस एंड replacement cost. And they cannot produce the customized goods. Right?
जी जी.
अच्छा. The next one is अच्छा पहले आप इसको लिख लो फिर मैं for
लिख
whom
लिया
to
सर.
produce for. Done. Okay. So for whom to produce? This is the third economic question. If we talk about the private sectors, for whom they produce the goods, इनके लिए products बनाती है private sector जो profit making firm.
हर किसी के लिए बना सकते हैं.
But उन्होंने बेचना किसको है? Who can afford to pay?
सर डिपेंड करता है.
हाँ डिपेंड करता है कि टाइप ऑफ प्रोडक्ट क्या है, सस्ता है महंगा है. बट अगेन whatever the product that they are selling, this they want to see that are the people going to buy the product or not. So they usually make the product who can pay. And if we are talking about the government, so they have a belief that everyone should receive equal share. So everybody receives equal share. So mainly the people who consumes the products are consumers, firms, and government. Right? So mainly these are the ones who are basically using the goods. Now, the next part that we have is the different economic systems. We are going to just do a bit of a start of this, not going to do the table. So, a bit of a start. Let's just see if we have time left to do the table as well. Okay. So, different economic systems. So, there are three economic systems that we are going to talk about. The first one is free market economic system. Do you know what free market economy is? What sort of an economic system is this? No?
नहीं बता सर।
Okay. Let's just do this then. Free market economic systems is a system where, just let me do this first. Okay. So this is a system where actions of individual consumers, firms, and household in the private sector will determine allocation of resources. मतलब के firms and consumers are going to decide what to be produced in the country, how it is going to be produced, and for whom it is going to be produced. It means कि government की intervention नहीं है, ये free market economy है. This is a system where private individuals have the right to set up their businesses, do the business, and there is very minimal government intervention into their business activity, into the business activity of the private sector. बहुत minimal government intervention होती है. So they allow the businesses to do the business, to earn the profits, to grow, to expand. ठीक है? तो इसको कहते हैं हम free market economic system. Whereas when we talk about a planned economic system, this is an extreme opposite of market economy or the free market economy. All decisions related to production and resource allocation and what needs to be produced, how it needs to be produced, and for whom to produce. All decisions related to how goods and services are priced, what price you are going to charge, allocated कि कहाँ पे हम resources को use कर रहे हैं, किन products को बनाने में, and produced are taken by state or government. तो यहाँ पे the complete control, जैसे in free market economy, the almost the complete control is in hand of the private sectors. Here, the complete control is with the state or the government. Government is going to decide what to produce. Government is usually going to produce the goods. Government is going to keep the prices for the goods. Government is going to allocate the resources that which are the products which are needed to be produced. And government is basically doing everything here. So there is very little chance for a private sector to set up their business and do the business, right? So this is planned economic system. You will not probably find a perfect example of a free market economy or the planned economic system in with any of the countries. But if you want to go closest to the free market economy, US is closest to the free market economy, where they allow the individuals to do the businesses and they allow them to grow. Whereas if I take one of the examples of a very planned sort of economy is North Korea.
सर तो सर पाकिस्तान
Pakistan is sort of mixed economic system. वहां पे गवर्नमेंट का भी कंट्रोल बड़ा स्ट्रांग है और एट द सेम टाइम बिजनेसेस इट्स नॉट लाइक द बिजनेसेस आर नॉट अलाउड टू डू बिजनेस और ये सारी चीजें द बिजनेसेस आर आल्सो डूइंग द बिजनेस तो प्लान्ड इकोनॉमिक सिस्टम में हम जब कंसिडर करते हैं तो वी आर सेइंग कि गवर्नमेंट का कंप्लीट कंट्रोल है जैसे कि इफ यू टॉक अबाउट नॉर्थ कोरिया सो यू कैन नॉट सेट अप योर ओन बिजनेस ठीक है उसमें तो बहुत सारी चीजें आ जाती है ना सोशल मीडिया इज कम्प्लीटली बैंड एंड ऑल दोज थिंग्स एंड government is controlling everything the resource allocation and everything whereas when you talk about a country like Pakistan वहां पे tilt हो सकता है किसी एक साइड पे ज्यादा प्रोबेबली गवर्नमेंट की साइड पे या प्राइवेट सेक्टर की साइड पे ठीक है टिल्ट्स हो सकते हैं but it's sort of a mixed economy where the ownership of resources is in the hands of the private sector and the public sector both right तो दोनों जगह पे वो चीज है so when we are talking about a mixed economic system so we are talking about that the ownership of resources and production decisions are split between private sector and public sector. ठीक हो गया so you can write this down here we're going to just put a stop here and continue this chapter in the next coming class so this is it about this topic for today